Uh, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. And a warm welcome from the Center for Sustainable Development. We have Professor B C Choudhury as our seminar speaker today. And this is a part of the KPCSD Sustainability Seminar Series in which we invite professionals and practitioners, researchers who are working in the field of sustainable development. And it is a pleasure to have Professor B C Choudhury today. This session will be moderated by Professor C.N. Pandey, who is a professor of practice in the Earth Science and Civil Engineering departments at IIT Gandhinagar. And he is also a coordinator of the Center for Sustainable Development. He's a wildlife biologist, ecologist, and he has extensively worked on mangroves. He's also done a PhD on mangrove reproductive biology. So I would now request Professor C.N. Pandey to kindly introduce Professor B C Choudhury, and please start today's seminar. Thank you, sir.
I first welcome Professor Choudhury to this seminar, and I also express my gratitude and thankfulness that he, being such a busy person, he's traveling all over, and he could find time to be with us and share his experience, share his knowledge and wisdom and his works with all of us. Now, his subject is very interesting. His subject is safeguarding the survival future of the whale shark. Professor Choudhury, this is a very important subject for the students here because people generally don't know much about whale shark. I'm very sure that you would be introducing about the species also in your talk to people, to the students and all. So this is going to be a very important thing. The topic basically talks about the survival future, but every future begins with the past. And Professor Choudhury has been associated with this work from the very past, so we will talk a little bit about that also. To introduce Professor B C Choudhury, he is a well-known wildlife biologist of the country because of his work involving several aquatic species, both freshwater and marine. He started his career in 1975 and has worked for a long time on the crocodile with the National Crocodile Conservation Project, and he kept on working on it till 1992, as long as the crocodile was not brought to a safe stage. He kept on working and pursuing his efforts in the field of crocodile. He continues his work with the crocodilians in several states even now, with the most recent being the successful reintroduction of gharial into the Bees River in Punjab, and in an attempt to take them back to the Indus River system. So he has made a great contribution to the conservation of crocodiles. He has worked for the freshwater turtles and land tortoises of the country, the river dolphin, otters, cranes, and large-bodied snakes. His foray into the marine environment was working with the marine turtles, for which he was the national advisor and was the first to deploy satellite transmitters on Olive Ridley turtles in Odisha coast, and to monitor their migration up to southern Sri Lanka and to the Arabian Sea from Sri Lanka. He is currently working with the whale sharks along the west coast of India, the topic on which he's going to talk just now, on the restoration project of coral reefs and mangroves in Gujarat and Kerala. His plans include restoration of coastal sand dunes, seagrass beds, and salt marshes. He is a member of the IUCN SSC, which is Special Survival Commission Specialist Group, including the Sustainable Use Initiative, and a recipient of the Society for Conservation Biology Award for his work on cranes and sea turtle. In addition to this introduction, Professor B C Choudhury is a great friend of mine, and he has worked on the conservation of whale shark right from the beginning. The entire halla gulla about the whale shark started with a film on whale shark on the Gujarat coast by Mike Pandey, which was named The Silence of Shores. And right from there, everybody got into the act of doing something for the conservation. And a lot of leadership and a lot of initiative was taken by Professor Choudhury. He provided the technical knowledge. He was the knowledge partner of the whole program. In this conservation program, the forest department was involved, the corporate houses were involved, of course the Wildlife Institute of India was definitely involved, which Professor B C Choudhury represented in the whole program. There was also involvement of Coast Guards and Fishery Research Institute, and there's so many stakeholders in this. And the most interesting thing is that this is one program in which the entire fishermen community was involved in a big way. And the community ambassador for this program was Murari Bapu. So this was one wildlife conservation program in which a religious leader was also involved. So this is for the students and all the participants today to remind them this is one program, a very unique conservation program in which we have scientists, we have government, we have corporate houses, basically the Tata Chemicals initially, and they really contributed to it, and they're still contributing to it. And the Wildlife Institute, which was the knowledge partner and the technical leader of this whole program, and the local people were also involved in this, and the Coast Guards, Fisheries Research Institute, which are at Vedaval. So there are almost every stakeholder was involved in this. So in this way, this was a very holistic program which was started here. There's a lot to learn from this, and Professor Choudhury would be telling us about what we can do for the future survival of this species. This is a very majestic species, and Professor Choudhury would be talking about it. It's a huge marine animal, and it's a giant. It's called a gentle giant because though it's called whale shark, but it's not very aggressive like shark. And this is a very interesting species in that sense. We have also invited in today's program the forest department people, and importantly, we have invited Mr. Pradeep Khanna, who's a very senior person, 75 batch IFS officer, and at that time he provided leadership to the entire program. We have Dr. Ramesh, who is chief conservator in Junagadh, who has the present jurisdiction over the area where this program is being implemented. We also have Dr. Aradhana Sahu. She is the chief conservator of forest wildlife for Gujarat and looks after the wildlife of entire Saurashtra. We also have Sanjay Shrivastava, who is APCCF, additional principal CCF of the research and technology here, research and technology, and also additional PCCF of wildlife. And we also hope that Mr. UD Singh, who is the present PCCF Development and Management, would be joining very soon. We are also likely to have Mr. Satish Trivedi, who is representing Tata Chemicals, the corporates who had supported this program. We have also invited the Coast Guard people and the Assistant Commandant, Mr. Shardul, is expected to join anytime. We also have the Fisheries Institutes in Vedaval and their scientists who are likely to join this. We also have here the faculty members and the students of IIT Gandhinagar and others also who might be interested in this. They have all been invited. So we have tried to invite, in addition to the community members of IIT Gandhinagar, we have also tried to invite others who have interest in whale shark conservation or who have contributed to whale shark conservation and are looking for some lessons as stakeholders of this whole program. So with this, I request Professor Choudhury to initiate his talk, and we will request him to please complete your talk by 40 minutes, and after that we will have some time for question and answer session. I also request everybody to, if you have any question, you can put in the Q&A box, or if you want to ask question, you have not put your question in the Q&A box, then you can raise your hand also, and then we will request Professor Choudhury to reply to this. You can also ask question to anybody else also if you feel like. So with these things, I request Professor Choudhury to kindly go ahead with your talk.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. C.N. Pandeyji. I think he has introduced me in a huge manner. I only hope that I stand to that reputation, and hopefully, I think anyone or everyone who were involved with this project has been invited into this this webinar, and I am sure if anything I have forgotten, I will forget in talking. I think someone or other will be filling in. It's also a great privilege for me that Dr. C.N. Pandey introduced me. He was, in fact, the Chief Wildlife Warden who was at that point of time, he was the chief wildlife warden, who facilitated the entire science program that was involved in this project. So first of all, let me give my gratitude to him as the chief wildlife warden of Gujarat. At that point of time, he was instrumental in giving the science component of this project to be take off the ground, and also for introducing me in that huge manner. And I also appreciate the presence of all the people who are currently involved with the project. People like Dr. C. Ramesh, Dr. Aradhana Sahu, and of course, Pradeep Khannaji. I think the whole program was initiated when he was the chief wildlife warden, and he still continues to be involved in some way or other in the project. I think while welcoming all of them to this talk, I only hope that I will not miss out. But since it is a talk under the sustainability series, I wanted to invite your attention to the second component of the title of this, complementing conservation science and action with community participation and corporate involvement. In fact, Dr. Pandey very clearly told about the community involvement, the corporate involvement, the forest department's involvement, and involvement of any organization who are working on the coast and marine system. So this is one project. The sustainability was assured by the involvement every single organization, every single agency who are involved in the coastal and marine conservation. But the flagship of this entire program, of course, was the whale shark. It continues to be the whale shark, the world's largest marine fish. And as the presentation unfolds, you will probably know the size dimension of it. I would request, Falguni, who is handling the transparency shifting on my behalf, to shift into the next transparency. I will just request next, then she can transfer to the next. Next one, please. Okay. As I said, this is the largest fish on the earth, up to 18 meters and 21 ton in weight. I think to give a dimension size into you, I have actually kept the fish next to a Volvo bus, and next to that a human being. So you can actually understand the dimension of the fish when it is the largest fish. In fact, the largest fish that has been recorded anywhere in the world was actually on the Pakistan coast, about 46 feet in size. And the species is endangered in the IUCN Red Data book, and its population is still declining. I think the global population is estimated to be not more than 10,000 individuals. And one of the reasons for the decline is unregulated and unsustainable fishing, largely for their fins, for the liver oil, and for skin and meat. But this was probably, as far as India is concerned, that was in the past. Currently, in India, nothing of that sort is happening. There are, of course, accidental entanglement in fishing nets, collision with boats, but these are bound to happen. In the marine environment, there are a lot of navigation movement, there's a lot of vessel movement, and India, in its trajectory of the global economy, is bound to be having a lot more coast-based ports and coast-based vessels. So this is going to be a problem which we need to recognize from now on, and how to avoid the marine collision with boats, and therefore the large, it is not the whale shark alone. Even very recently, a whale was stranded along the Maharashtra coast. And the blue whale is probably one of the major problems with the blue whale, is the collision with the marine boats. I think, we also have some accidental deaths of whale sharks in the marine collision. Next slide. Okay. The largest fish on the earth is the smallest creatures on the earth, the planktons. I think, you will wonder, how come this fish is actually surviving with, that whale shark are filter feeders. I think, looking at the body size of the fish, once it opens the mouth, a whole large volume of water goes in, and it filters out the food, mostly planktons. And one of the key food item in its dimension in the Catholic dietary habit of the fish is the paste shrimp. I think right in the middle, the paste shrimp picture is there. And Gujarat coast is actually known for the presence of the shrimp paste shrimp. So I think this is extremely important for us. on not only the plankton, but also the shrimp. That is one of the major food items of the whale shark. The presence of these and the water temperature and also the tropical area, that is what actually makes the whale shark a regular visitor to the Indian coastline in general, and Gujarat coastline in particular, and very close to the Viraval coast. As the slides go on, I will give you more details. Next one. Since it is an awareness talk also, I would like to tell you this is a shark, not a whale. So what is the difference between a whale and a shark? First of all, whale is a mammal. It gives birth to young one. Shark is a fish. It's a ovoviviparous. The young ones actually are growing within its body cavity. But what is important for you to know, while the whale has lungs, the shark has gills for respiration. And also, if you look into the horizontal tail fluke of the whale and the vertical tail fin of the whale shark. So these are, and in addition to that, in whale, there are mammary glands, which actually are the milk providing thing for the young ones. But in the case of shark, the mammary gland area has been replaced by additional fins, the dorsal, pelvic, and anal fins that aids in the swimming of this. So I think, and I thought, it is not a whale, but its body size and relative similarity in the configuration of the body is, makes it a whale shark. But it is actually a shark. It's a fish, not a mammal. It's not a whale. It's a shark. Next one, please. So whale shark is not a whale, but a shark, as you said. Shark is a fish. I wanted to repeat everyone to know whale shark is a fish. It's a shark. It is not a whale. It's not a mammal. Next one. The global distribution of the whale shark, as you can see in this map, the blue area is the distribution area of the whale shark, and which is circumtropical in its distribution range, and therefore you have them in the north American coast, you have them in the South American coast, you have them along the African coast, you have them in the Indian coastline, you have them in the Australian coastline, you have the South Asian coastline. So it is circumglobal in distribution, but in spite of its distribution all along the circumtropical region of the globe, the total number of the fish, the whale shark, is probably less than 10,000 individuals. That's because it has been extremely largely harvested in many parts of its distribution, particularly in China. It's very badly harvested, and probably its long-term future is dependent, unless we contain the extreme harvest of the species in China, its future is probably going to be a big problem. It is similar was the case in India. I will come to that a little later. Next slide. As you can see, the whale shark occurs practically all along the India's coastline. The two large marine ecosystems, the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. The whale shark is recorded almost every part of the India's coastline, but including the Lakshadweep group of islands, Andaman Nicobar group of islands. But its largest aggregation of the whale shark is off the Gujarat coast in Saurashtra, next to Viraval. Okay. In the Indian waters, from October to April, the whale sharks congregate in very large numbers, but you often don't see them because of the water quality. Our water quality is very turbid, and therefore you don't often see them. But across the world, there has been many areas people actually swim along with the whale shark. It's a very star attraction in the marine environment, on the tourism, marine tourism, marine mammal and marine shark tourism area. In fact, this project actually came into being because the Tata Chemical was one of the donors for this project, and the Tatas, the giant of the Tatas, the Ratan Tata, when he heard about this project, he said, "Oh yes, I remember. I actually swam along with the whale shark, and that is why I think I know how important the whale shark is. I know we should be funding in any manner it is possible. So till today, the Tata Chemical, the Tata Group is actually contributing to the whale shark conservation program. And it is because of the giant of the Tatas, the Ratan Tata. He was swimming as a tourist along with the whale shark. And that is why he said, in India, possibly a possible prospect of tourism involving the whale shark may be possible. And closer to our Indian coastline, it is actually happening in Maldives. Maldives has got a whale shark tourism possibility, but the water there is very, very crystal clear. Unlike our coast, in the Gujarat coast, particularly in the Saurashtra coastline, very close to Viraval, very close to the Gulf of Kutch area, I think the water quality is not as good as many other parts of the world, and therefore, possibly in spite of their aggregation, because of the availability of food, because of the temperature, because of other factors, their aggregation is there. But the possibility of whale shark tourism is something which you can examine later in future. Next slide. As you can see in this picture, Dr. Shian Pandey talked about the indiscriminate killing of the whale shark along the Gujarat coast. These were pictures taken from historical pictures. In fact, in 2000, there was one particular day when as many as 68 whale sharks were killed on a single day. So that's the kind of aggregation it was happening. Just imagine this gory pictures. And this was gory, you may say, but economically, this was something which was like a boon to the fishermen. They were getting something like 2 lakh rupees by killing one whale shark. And that's a long economic benefit, very large economic benefit. Even if, you can say, stop this killing, they will say, okay, who is going to compensate for economic loss? But, it is something, a species would be lost forever if, you are looking at 2 lakh rupees per individual. Next picture. The Source of Silence, a film made by Mike Pandey in the year 2000, which actually brought into the light, into the global community, the plight of the whale shark in Gujarat. And his picture got a Green Oscar, award-winning film. And this is what brought into the focus the plights of the whale shark along the Gujarat coast. And this is what also brought the species into the protected category. Next slide. Okay, so the protection and conservation, in 2001, the India's Wildlife Protection Act 1972 brought the species into Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act. This was probably the first fish which was brought into the Wildlife Protection Act. In 2003, India successfully lobbied for its protection under the Convention on Endangered Trade in this international trade, which is CITES. And CITES, it was actually brought into the CITES, and laws were in place what was required to act as a conservation program. So in 2004, the Wildlife Trust of India, the International Fund for Animal Welfare, and the Forest Department of Gujarat combined their hands to initiate the whale shark campaign. And the support of the Tata Chemical and the Gujarat Forest Department was extremely important in that project. It is considered one of the globally most successful and globally acclaimed conservation campaign ever taken up for a marine species. This aim was to understand the existing level of awareness and to spread a message of conservation, to educate and change the perception about the world's largest fish among the specific target groups in Gujarat. The specific target group in Gujarat were the marine fishers, but in addition to the marine fishers, every other person who were along the coast of Gujarat were also made a target in this conservation campaign. Next one. Whale shark becomes the first fish to be protected under the Wildlife Protection Act in India, and initiation of the PPP model, public-private partnership model of marine megafauna conservation. And this is probably one of the reasons, even after 20 years, the PPP model is making it a sustainable program to be operated. It is now into the regular annual agenda of the Gujarat Forest Department, because they are the ones who are giving the compensation to the fishermen who are sacrificing their net they cut the net and allow the fish, the whales are caught in the net to be released back into the sea. And to this day, over 1,000 whale sharks have been released by the fishermen. So if you calculate about 2 to 3 lakh rupees for the cost of one whale shark, the fishermen themselves have contributed probably about something to the tune of about 3 to 4 crore rupees by releasing the whale shark back into the sea. So that is their economic contribution as far as the project is concerned. The about 1.5 crore the Department of Forest has already given to the first fishermen, but this is about 50% of their compensation they have got. But the Tata Chemical has probably given something to the tune of 6.5 to 7 crore rupees in these 20 years to the project. So between the Forest Department, between the Tata Chemical, between the Wildlife Trust of India and their employees, it's a huge, huge conservation program, and it is one of the most successful conservation program which the country has ever taken. Next one. Okay. What was the campaign's strategy? The campaign strategy was like continuous campaigning and active involvement of the fishers and religious leaders have led to this change. The change was from a fish to be harvested, from a fish to be conserved. That was the attempt of the campaign. Next one. The campaign actually created an inflatable, a life-size model of the whale shark and moved it all along the coast of Gujarat. The campaign strategy 1 was making common people know about the gentle giant, taking it across to the people. We cannot take a whale shark, to the people. So an exact replica of the whale shark, an inflatable model, was taken along the coast of Gujarat. Almost every single fishing port, almost every single area of the Gujarat, Saurashtra coast and the Gujarat coast. This particular picture was taken close to Dwarka, and people have seen what exactly is a whale shark. Next one. The campaign strategy 2 was striking an emotional chord. The spiritual and social leader Morari Bapu made the whale shark the ambassador on January 20, 2004. In fact, the Morari Bapu told the fishermen, like your married daughter comes to your home to deliver the young one to the babies, similarly, a whale shark comes to the Gujarat coast to give birth to its young one. Would you kill a pregnant female just like your daughter, who is just like a daughter? If you kill a whale shark, it's like killing your daughter. So it struck an emotional chord with the fishermen, and they said they kind of promised that we will not kill the whale shark anymore. In fact, from 2004 to now, there has not been a single whale shark killed by the fishermen in Gujarat. And that is the success of this project along the Gujarat coast. It is not only Gujarat coast. This Gujarat coast not killing the whale shark is gradually shifting into every other state. Along the coast of Gujarat, Maharashtra has also started this campaign. We have started the campaign in Kerala, in Karnataka, and even there, people have started cutting the net and releasing them. In the East Coast, the fishermen have started cutting the net and releasing the fish in Andhra Pradesh, in Odisha, and in Tamil Nadu. So I think, the Gujarat model, this PPP model which started in Gujarat, is slowly catching up in almost every part of India. So that is why I say this is not only a conservation success, this is a sustainable, replicable model. Next one. The campaign strategy 3 was targeting the generation next. The critical groundswell, school children and youth. The model of the whale shark, the inflatable model of the whale shark, was taken almost to every single school along the coast of Gujarat, particularly in the Saurashtra coast, and in our campaign in other parts of the country, particularly in Kerala and Karnataka, we have taken it almost to every single school along the coast, and so that the target is the generation next. They are the ones who will ensure that the survival of the whale shark actually is a reality in the future. Next one. Okay. involving students in essays, in artwork, in competition. Everywhere it was the students who were involved. In fact, we celebrate the International Whale Shark Day on 30th of August every year. And we also have a special Gujarat Whale Shark Day on the Kartik Amavasya. I think, this year it's probably going to happen on the 12th of December. So Gujarat is the only state in the country which has a Gujarat Whale Shark Day in addition to the International Whale Shark Day, which is the 30th of August. So that is how it is not only internationally known, it is also critically and especially known in Gujarat because of the Gujarat Whale Shark Day, which is celebrated on Kartik Amavasya, not according to the English calendar, but according to the Hindu calendar on to the Kartik Amavasya, whichever date it falls on. This year it is going to be on the 12th of December. Next one. Okay, what else has happened? The coastal towns of Porbandar, Diu, Dwaraka, Okha, Ahmedabad, Veeraval, and Mangrove, they have declared 7 cities of Gujarat have adopted whale shark as their city mascot. And what it means, they have not only made this as the city mascot, they have taken a pledge to solemnly swear to welcome Wali. They have given the whale shark a name Wali, the whale shark, as a loved guest to the source of our homeland. We will celebrate her arrival every year. We'll strive to protect it and educate our fellow men about the world's largest fish, Wali, the pride of Gujarat. So the pride of Gujarat is the Asiatic lion on the land, and the pride of Gujarat in the marine ecosystem is the whale shark. So this pride has made the Asiatic lion grow in number up to 700 or so in Gujarat. And the same pride will probably make Wali, the whale shark, to proliferate in large numbers, not just in Gujarat coast, but this 10,000, which is the global population, will probably inflate not anywhere else, but along the Indian coast and particularly in Gujarat coast. Next slide. The winds. The special whale shark postal cover was released on March 12, 2005. We were taking it to the other department. Even the Indian Postal Service, created a postal cover. Next one. The campaign wins. With all this kind of release of whale sharks begins within a year of the campaign. 2004, the campaign started. Within a year, the fishermen released the netted whale shark back to the ocean. That's 2005 onwards. From October to April, any time a whale shark is caught in the nets, the fishermen will cut the net and allow it to be go into the sea. But initially, because the forest department was giving them a compensation, the fishermen used to drag it up to the closer to the coast so that someone can certify yes the boat. But then we realized it's a great strain onto the animal, and then we started what is known as a self-documentation scheme. We had distributed cameras to the fishermen, so the fisherman has to just click a picture with the boat, and that is the proof that they have released a whale shark. And to this day, so they don't drag the fish any longer to the coast. So to this day, I think, this trauma and the stress that was happening earlier, this is no longer happening. So I think, every single whale shark which is released into the sea by cutting the net is now safely going back into the sea. So if 1,000 whale shark has been saved in the last 17, 18 years so far, I think, what we do not know about is, many of them actually don't even come and report. They just release it and they come back. They're happy that they have released something. So in actual practice, there are more than 1,000 whale sharks have been released in the Gujarat coast. And that is a success. That's when we say the campaign wins. And this particular model of campaign has been recognized globally as one of the best things that has happened. In every second year, there's a global whale shark conference which happens, and our team always participates in the whale shark conference. And every conference, it's a thunderous clapping happens because of the India's campaign on whale shark. Okay, next one. Nearly 1,000 whale sharks released since 2005 from Gujarat. The numbers are more than 1,000. This is just a picture of how they are cutting the net and allowing the fish to go back. Every single fisherman along the coast of Viraval, Sutrapada, and Dhamles, all these three villages, every single fisherman knows about it. We have on our payroll a social scientist, a sociologist, who actually interacts with every single fisherman family and keeps them into a singular unit. Every fisherman knows the sociologist, and the sociologist knows every single fisherman. And that is a way of keeping track of what the fishermen are doing, how are they. And you go and talk to any fisherman along the Saurashtra coast, they will say what a whale shark is, what a wali is. And that is what is the campaign success story. Next one. Okay, the recognition. The Bombay Natural History Society gave this program the Green Governance Award in 2005. The Gujarat Ecology Commission award during the 2012. The UNDP Indian Biodiversity Award to the Gujarat Forest Department for the co-management in 2014. And in every year, every alternate years, whale shark conference, the presentations by the WTI's team has always won an award. So there is an international recognition. And very recently, the satellite telemetry-based paper published by the Frontiers of Science has been chosen as one of the best papers in the migration studies of the whale shark in the world. So that's one of the recognition. This project has been recognized at every level. Next one. Okay, the self-documentation scheme I talked about, the people used to drag it and to closer to the coast, but now they don't do it. Some 1,159 cameras have been given, and they take a picture. Now, even they are not using the camera because every fisherman has got a smartphone. So now they are using the smartphone, and there is a whale shark app. On the app, the exact lat long also is located. So every single whale shark where it is released, that also information is also come to being. And next one. Okay. See, upgraded self-documentation scheme whale shark mobile app. This is the app. This app is available in English. This app is available in Gujarati. So every single whale shark, wherever it is rescued, just like the dates, this is only a graphic representation. These are exact location where on a particular date a whale shark is released. That information is available. So we have in our database all the 1,000 whale shark where they have been released, based on which we can actually prepare a map of habitat utilization of the congregating whale shark along the Gujarat coast. That is science part of it. Next one. Combining whale shark science and conservation. Next one. What else we do? These are the dots. These are only a representative area of, this dot shows the largest congregations are around the 20 meter to 50 meter depth of the sea. Into the first 10 meters, you don't normally see the whale shark. After the 10 meter depth, around 20 meter depth to 50 meter depth, that is where the whale sharks congregate. And beyond the 50 meter depth, you normally don't see the whale shark. So I think, this is a very good information which was generated in this, 16, 17 years of study. But we are also trying to find out from other areas in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Odisha, in Andhra Pradesh, along the east coast of India, in Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep, we are actually looking at what depth we are seeing a whale shark, and based on which we can probably say these are the areas where the navigation and other detrimental factors needs to be controlled. Next one. Okay. What do they prefer? They prefer a chlorophyll range of 3 to 4 grams per cubic meter. They do not have a very particular sea surface temperature, but normally any temperature above 20 degrees Celsius of water temperature is a preferred zone, but that is the temperature of water in the tropical belt of the sea. So this is the chlorophyll content is one of the most important factor for us, because at this chlorophyll content, you see the phytoplankton, you see the nectons, you see the paste shrimp, what is the preferred food of the whales are. All these segregation happens at this kind of a chlorophyll range, 3 to 4 milligram per meter cubic. Next one. Okay. What we also, just like the stripes of a tiger or the whiskers of the lion, the whales are on the lateral side. Every single dot, every single animal have the dots at a different location. If you take a broadside picture, you can probably send it to the library of the global whale shark photographs. They can actually tell you whether this whale shark was photographed at some other location. So we know for sure some of the whale sharks we have photographed and sent it to the global whale shark database. They have told us some of the whale shark has probably been photographed in Maldives and probably has been photographed in Thailand. So I think we know these whales are probably migrating from Thailand and also from Maldives. But to confirm that, we have later used satellite telemetry. I will come to that a little later. So the photo ID is an extremely interesting information gathering system. But one of the problem for us in the Gujarat coast, in the Gujarat coastal waters, we cannot get a very good picture of the lateral side of the animal because the water is so turbid. Unless the water is crystal clear, often you don't get a very good picture. And therefore, to create a database based on these dots, the whale shark stripes and dots based identification ID is a difficult thing. But we are looking the possibility of how we can make this a little more perfect. Next one. The Gujarat Forest Department and also the Tata Chemical provided some money to start our satellite tagging work. A satellite tag is a tag which you see on the left side of the picture with an antenna and with a tethering cable. This was fixed into the dorsal fin, and whenever the antenna was above the water, it would send a signal, and the signal will be picked up by a satellite, and the signal will be transmitted back into a earth station from where we will collect the information where exactly the whale shark is found, whale shark, a tagged whale shark is, a satellite tagged whale shark is. So far, 8 whale sharks have been tagged, and we have just obtained 5 more tags. Only last fortnight we have received the tags. 5 more whale shark tags have been received, satellite tags. So that will make us 13 whale shark tags. And based on these tags, we will probably find out where exactly the whale sharks which are coming to Gujarat coast, where exactly they are coming from, and where exactly they go after coming and possibly breeding in the Gujarat coast. What have we know so far? Next one. What we know so far, I think, based on the tagging in the Gujarat, we have actually tracked a whale shark right up to Oman. We have tracked a whale shark right up to Somalia on the east coast of Africa. We have tagged a whale shark, further south into the Indian Ocean. But some of the tags, didn't give us much information. And we believe our next 5 transmitters will give us more information. And if the information about the east coast of Africa and India, like, Oman, Somalia, and Mozambique and all other is a reality, then we would possibly start an international cooperation along with the east coast of Africa and west coast of India. That's our intention. Hopefully, our next 5 transmitters will give us more information. And the next 5 transmitters are funded by the Gujarat Forest Department. Next one. Okay. This is the picture of where exactly we place the transmitter. The circle where we see an antenna, that is where the satellite transmitter is fitted. And after, very often we take a animal which has been caught in a fishing net, and if it is within 2 to 3 kilometers from the shoreline, into a depth of about 10 to 15 meters, the fishermen give us the information, and immediately we rush and fix a transmitter. The whole exercise takes about 7 to 8 hours, but we do not allow any whale shark to be stranded, to be kept in the net for more than 3 hours. So the question of, keeping them in confiscated, keeping them trapped in a net for more than 4 hours is not recommended. And therefore, we have to be extremely alert for the next 3 to 4 months. With these 5 tags, our team will be always alert. The moment they get an information, they will immediately rush to the sea and try to fix the transmitter as soon as possible. Each of the transmitter cost us something to the tune of about 2.5 lakh rupees. So it's a fairly expensive, and it is programmed for about 1 year, and it will give us information for 1 year. And if the transmission cycle is reduced, with the duration is longer, then it can give us information up to 2 years. But in the marine environment, very often the transmitter probably don't last that long because it's a big fish, and the antenna and the tether often gets disentangled from the body of the fish, and that is one of the risks that has to go with the satellite transmitter work. Next one. Okay, it gives you a little more detail how we place the transmitter, but there is a plus point. When we fix the transmitter, this actually gives some indication of how it moved from Gujarat, how it has moved to almost closer to Somalia. Okay, next one. Next one. Okay, we also have done the genetic study. When we place the transmitter, there's a little bit of a tissue that is coming out, but every stranded animal we can take as tissue because such large a fish, all that you need is a 1 centimeter of tissue from any part of the animal's tail or skin or anywhere, just 1 centimeter of tissue, and that is analyzed, and the analysis, most of these analyses were done in the WII, Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, and there were 19 samples, 13 haplotypes were observed. All except one were confined to Indian coast. It can be interpreted that individuals coming to West Coast may be part of a subpopulation. More sampling is required to confirm this. So as we continue to tag 5 more individuals, we will probably take a tissue samples. And we have some tissue samples from East Coast of India. We have tissue samples of West Coast of India. We have tissue samples from Lakshadweep. So once all these tissue samples are analyzed, we can actually say for sure whether the whale sharks which are coming to the Gujarat coast is a unique population of its own. All indication gives us the Arabian Sea, which actually holds a unique population of whale sharks specific to the Arabian Sea. Possibly they migrate into the northern Indian Ocean, but that information also will come from the satellite telemetry work. Next one. With the Indian Institute of Science and Educational Research, Kolkata, we are also analyzing what other benthic zooplankton and what other benthos are there, which probably gets into the dietary spectrum of the whale shark, and the presence of these round the year needs to be confirmed so that we know for sure which season the availability of planktons are at the peak, and these macro and micro benthos are at its peak, and therefore we can predict for sure what time of the year the whale sharks are expected to arrive into the Gujarat coast with the availability of zooplanktons, the availability of benthos fauna, and so on. And that is why we have started a study with the Indian Institute of Science, Education Research, Kolkata. They are specializing in this particular subject area, and they continue to work with us along the east coast of India as well. So we are trying to find out, based on the dietary spectrum, where possibly we can see the whale shark in future. Next one. On the International Whale Shark Conferences, every 2 years it happens, and we showcase this in 2016, 2019. We have Qatar conference, we have the Australian conference. Recently there was another conference which happened. So we have participated in all these conferences, and everywhere the presentation of ours was very, very gratefully accepted and appreciated. Next one. Okay. See, we also conducted a regional conference in Gujarat, Whalesar conference in India in Mahatma Mandir in 2019. And the Whalesar Conservation Project organized the first ever regional Whalesar conference. The idea was along the west coast of India, we had in that participation from Australia, we had participation from USA, we have participation from Maldives, we have participation from Bangladesh, we have participation. What we are trying to do, we are trying to develop a regional forum. Representatives of state forest departments of Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Andaman were also present. But with all this participation, what we are trying to do, we are trying to find out, set up a regional program, possibly with UNDP, GEF funding support. We will develop a regional Whalesar conservation program. That's our wish list, but let's see how this will come forward. Maybe we will come up with a regional program for Whalesar in this region, maybe a SARC region, or maybe the Rim Nation or whatever. The Rim Nation concept is probably a good one. South Africa to Australia, maybe one. So we will probably, the Rim Nation Secretariat, we will reach out, and possibly a regional program can also be developed. Next one. Okay. In popular articles, The Gentle Giant, this was an article written by me and Sergeant John in the Hornbill magazine, a very, very popular magazine published by the Bombay Natural History Society. We also write in the traditional English newspapers. Hindu carried a story. We also have social media stories about the whale shark. Every time a whale shark is rescued and released, there is a social media story. Instagram, all kinds of social media is used so that people know about it, and that is how the groundswell of support for whale shark conservation will happen in India. Very soon, in another by 12th of this month, I have been invited by the Goa government to give a talk about the whale shark. It's clashing with the Gujarat Whale Shark Day, but something which I committed about 3 months back. But 8 scientists have been invited from throughout the country to deliver a talk on the 13th to about 10,000 students in Goa. And unfortunately, this will be clashing with the Gujarat Whale Shark Day. And I would probably miss out my presence in the Gujarat Whale Shark Day. But my participation in the Manohar Parrikar Vigyan Mahotsav on the 13th of December will probably help a whale shark campaign in the state of Goa. So that's something, popularizing the species in other states. Next one. Since 2004, not a single whale shark is intentionally killed along the Gujarat coast. Okay, next one. 7 new records of whale shark pups and juveniles from Gujarat coast. Morari Bapu told the fishermen they are coming to give birth, but there were no proof. So in all these years, we have sent picture postcards to all over the coast of Gujarat, all over the Indian coastline. If the fishermen catch a baby shark, a baby whale shark, which is not more than 50 centimeter in size, kindly release it into the sea, take a video and send it back to us. So these are videos we have received. In fact, so far probably there are 13 records of such juvenile whale sharks being released, 50 centimeter to about a meter and a half length. So this confirms the Gujarat coast to be a breeding ground of the whale shark. They are called the pups. So whale shark pups have been recorded along the Gujarat coast. Whale shark pups have been recorded almost along the entire west coast of India. But this kind of videos are not with us, and we are compiling this video so that we can exactly find out where are they congregating. I will come to a congregation picture a little later. Next one. Yes, the next one. We have also used the traditional ecological knowledge of the fishing community We have interviewed about 1,800 fishermen all along the coast of India. And based on their information, we have identified 6 congregating areas. Gujarat, Saurashtra coast, Maharashtra near Malvan, Karnataka near Netrani Island, Lakshadweep group of islands, along the Krishna and Godavari river in Andhra Pradesh. So these are the 6 congregating areas we know of. In addition to Andaman Nicobar, we are now trying to find out Andaman Nicobar and possibly along the Sri Lanka coast. So I think, just based on the traditional ecological knowledge of the fishermen, based on 1,800 interviews, we have identified these 6 locations. Next one. We have now taken the campaign to Kerala and Karnataka, making common people know about the gentle giant. Next one. So this is targeting the generation next, critical groundswell, school children and youth. These are all in Kerala. Next one. You can see this, almost every school, how interestingly the children are associated. Next one. We give them small mementos, souvenirs, so that they can keep it. Caps, badges, they can take home. They can actually educate, not only educate themselves, they can also educate their parents about it. And our target group is children, very specifically the fisher folks, children of fisher folks. We are also contemplating to give a education scholarship to children of the underprivileged, under economic privileged fishermen, so that their children can actually get educated and they can become our ambassadors for saving the whale shark. Next one. Okay, you can see this, the almost every school along the Kerala and Karnataka coast. Next one. We have along the fishing ports, in the evenings, we target fishing villages. This is a village, where we were talking to the fishermen in Kerala, very close to Tiruvananthapuram. And almost, next week, they actually rescued a whale shark. Next one. Next one. You can see this kind of, campaigns. This is all in local language. All the local fisher folks save the whale shark. This is in Malayalam. Next one. We also pan-Kerala cycle rally starting from Trivandrum and ending at Kasaragod, covering all coastal districts and sensitizing the fishers all along the way. In Gujarat, we are also contemplating a campaign, Mundra to Mumbai. From Mundra, we will start and end it in Mumbai, all along the coast of Gujarat, right up to Maharashtra, to take the campaign, celebrate 20 years of whale shark conservation, and all along the coast of Gujarat, right up to Maharashtra. And so that the corporates are also aware of it, the coastal communities are aware of it, every official agencies are aware of how to take care of the whale shark. Next one. So this many parts of Kerala, they were so enthusiastically welcomed, and this has resulted in whale shark rescue in Kerala. So far, at least 3 whale sharks have been released by fishermen in Kerala. This is just about a year. The corporate giant Oracle, the IT giants, they were the funders, and currently there are 2 more funders have supporting our program in Kerala and Karnataka, and hopefully we will be starting a campaign in Goa. We will starting a campaign in Lakshadweep, and we are starting possibly a project on whale shark along the east coast of India. So what started in Gujarat in 2004, a campaign continued for 20 years, is now catching up almost every single coastal states of India. Next one. So that's probably the end. We are also using Gujarat model fishers along the Kerala coast, also have rescued and released 5 whale shark. And we are using cartoons. We have a cartoon booklet, which we are translating into multiple languages and giving it to school kids so that they know about whale shark, and they will probably educate their parents about the whale shark. So we are trying to catch every single opportunity so that fishermen return the netted whale shark back to the sea. Next one. Okay, how can we help? We can keep our beaches clean, stop ocean plastic pollution, collecting the plastic polluted material. We have created whale shark artwork, and that has been placed in Karnataka in many places. Artwork produced out of plastic waste and beach cleanup drives. Gujarat, it's a very, very common thing to do, but we have taken it along the Karnataka coast, along the Kerala coast, beach cleanup drive, sub-funded by the Oracle, and sensitizing communities by public talks and so on. Next one. And sensitizing the communities through wall painting. Every single coastal port in Kerala and Karnataka has now this kind of a poster, Save the Whale Shark. This is a fishing port, and the entire wall has been painted with Save the Whale Shark. So every kind of opportunity to popularize the whale shark has been taken care of. And next one. So the corporates have joined the conservation, the Tata Chemical, VMware, Oracle, Wajid Sultan Tobacco, the port. This is the port in Cochin shipyard. They have been funding us, and there are at least 2 or 3 other corporates are now expressing their willingness to fund projects in the east coast of India. And currently, we are in dialogue with the motorcycle company to start a campaign in Goa. Possibly the Royal Enfield is going to fund a program in Goa. Next one. So the next generation, we are preparing the next generation to be taken care of, catch them young. So even the play children, the small playing things, are with a whale shark campaign. So our target is from a toddler to the older generation. Every single target group, we are taking the whale shark across, and hopefully this will help a generation, not only the present generation, but the coming generation to take care of the whale shark. But this is the kind of campaign that is required, not just for the whale shark, but a lot more other marine fauna in India. Thank you very much for listening to this lecture. I hope I have not exceeded my time. Thank you. I can take any questions if it is on the chat, or if the learned participants, there are other participants, they can probably contribute a little more for whatever I have said. Thank you very much, Dr. C.N. Pandey, for giving me this opportunity to talk.
Thank you very much, Professor Choudhury. And it was a very enlightening talk. You covered almost every aspect of it. And it was such a comprehensive program, such a all-pervasive, all-inclusive program, and you have integrated everything so well. This program had community participation, the use of science and technology, research, governance, public-private partnership, role of NGOs, scientists, forest department, and also awareness generation. That has also been covered so well. And cultural leaders, like the role of Murari Bapu and all these things. This is one program which is very unique in its completeness. It has been handled very, very comprehensively, and that is why, after a period of about 20 years, we can really say that this program has succeeded. It's one of the successful conservation programs in the world, and a lot of things are still going to happen. Thank you very, very much.